Alrighty traders, hello everyone, this is John Howell here. Today we're going to be looking at all the markets today, and I want to share with you why there's indicators, these two major indicators that are screaming right now we're about to get a good pullback in the stock market. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, just let you know that 30-day risk-free trial to my coaching program is ending. The first link in the description there, guys, click on that. That's actually about to end. So let me start off with the good old stock market here, right? So I'll bring up this thing here, and the one thing that a lot of traders are always asking me, it's like, John, I always notice that you just use the chart and not any indicators. And one thing that I want to ask you a question here, okay? I want to ask you a question for you. So, and you got to be honest with yourself here. By you using indicators, right? By you using indicators, do they actually help you do really well out of the market? Now, let me ask you another question. Do you really need the indicators to help you do really well out of the trading? See, the thing is this, right, is that we have a 50-50 chance. But once we start to overlay some simple analysis like trend analysis and stuff like that, we can start to have a really good success rate, right? So that's the reason why, like, a lot of the times when I'm looking at these markets and I'm trading the markets, I don't need indicators to tell me what's going on, because the chart is the most important thing to me. Where I notice a lot of traders, they're trying to use all these different indicators and they wonder why they're struggling, because they think, oh, if I've got 3 or 4 indicators, therefore I'm going to do really well. And that's actually a very, very big mistake, right? In trading, it's actually something that slowed me down so much, because I was focusing, all my attention was focusing on indicators. Now, by the way, guys, when I say indicators, this is how I used to trade. Now, what's actually going on here? Majority of the time, I saw the chart, but majority of the time, most of my focus was going down towards these indicators here, right? The RSI. This is the RSI double. Oh, it's a double RSI. Ooh, double RSI, right? And then we have, this RSI down here, and then we have Bollinger Bands, and you can add MACD and so on and so forth. Excuse me. So when we're trading the markets, most of my time was spending this here, and I would spend 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, focusing so much on the indicators instead of getting really good at learning how to read what is the actual market telling me, right? And it's a really big thing that my mentor taught me was, John, he said, John, let me ask you a question. What's going to be beneficial for you 5 years from now? You spending all the time learning how to read the indicators, right? Becoming a master of the indicators, stochastics, RSI, which is a derivative of the thing, which is the market, right? Or becoming a master of the main thing. Which one? If you spent the next 5 years studying and analyzing and becoming really good at, if you become a master of the main thing, or a master of the derivative of the main thing, which is the indicators, which one's going to serve you the better? And obviously obviously becoming a master of the main thing, right? So that's the reason why I don't use indicators myself, guys, because you don't need it, right? We overcomplicate it. And I'll tell you what, traders, I did it for so long, right? I did it for so long. I used to trade the way that I shared with you a minute ago. So by looking at the stock market now, and by looking at what's actually going on here, the charts have been telling me that we're getting ready for a pullback soon. If you've been watching my updates, you would know that I've been saying that we're getting ready for a pullback soon. And I don't know when that's going to happen. If we have a look at that, and then we have a look at, say the Nasdaq as well too, right? The Nasdaq has definitely been one of those markets that definitely have been, look at this here, high. It broke above this high point through here. Now we're just going sideways. We came down, came back up. What's probably likely to happen here, right? We're probably likely to what? We're probably likely to get some form of a pullback. Now, not a crash, some form of a pullback. And you know, probably for the last week, I've been putting out YouTube videos saying, guys, this is what I'm expecting to see in the markets because the charts are telling me this. Now, here's something really interesting. When I started to do some research, on the actual market itself, and I started to realize that there was a few major indicators giving me this sort of confirmation of what I was looking at, right? Now, again, the chart was telling me we're getting ready for a pullback, so I've been through that. But when I started looking at things like the fear and greed index, right? And here's the really interesting thing is that, should I say, the interesting thing is this, is that, as you know, when the Nasdaq was down here, you know, I was saying, don't fight the market, don't fight the market. It's an uptrend, it's an uptrend, it's an uptrend. Don't fight the market, don't fight the market. It's an uptrend, right? I was saying that. I was very bullish the market at that time. And guess what? The market's gone up. Now I've flipped to not bearish, but just saying, you know what? We're probably likely to get a very strong pullback out of the markets. I don't know what, but the market is telling me this here. And by looking at the various sort of indices, the S&P 500, the Dow, and so on and so forth, and the Nasdaq, the Russell is a different. That's a mind of its own, right? But by looking at these indices, we can now see that through there. And so what I'm looking at here is if I bring up the fear and greed index, check this out. Right, so we see this extreme greed right now, right? This extreme greed when we're at this level through here. And you can see that if I go to this level here, you can see that every time in the past 12 months, we have gotten to the greed, or especially into the extreme greed. We got a 76 reading here. This one here got up to an 82 reading on the extreme greed, and then we just got up to 77 recently. So as you can see that on a short-term level basis, right? I want to say short-term over the next couple of weeks, you can see how when we eventually get to these points up here, the buyers and sellers, or the traders, become very greedy, right? So therefore we get some form of a pullback, and it's a very strong pullback generally. So you can see that through there, and now we're at this level 3 here. So what's coming out of this level here, right? You've seen this so many times. What's coming? This thing's going to head back down to where? Down to there. And guess where the bottom's going to be? When it starts to get to this extreme fear, right? And as you can see, we get down to here. That's the extreme fear down there. We actually got down to the bottom here. That was down in July last year, right? Extreme greed, and then we got down to what's that? That was actually September last year, right? Down into September last year. When was that? August, right? Actually, yeah. So August down to there. But as you can see, every time we've gotten down to these levels here, it's been a good buying opportunity for the markets, right? And every time we get up to these points here, it's been a good shorting opportunity for the last 12 months. So by looking at the markets, now this is just looking at the markets here, right? I'm going to actually get into individual stocks here in just a minute, guys, and share with you why the charts have been telling me that we're getting ready for a pullback. And now I'm seeing some of these other indicators I'm telling you here right now, which such as the fear and greed index. But then also check this out. This is something really incredible. I think this is definitely something interesting here, right? So check this out. So if I go to, this is my trading view, okay? And I'm looking at my trading view right now. Look at the VIX. Look where the VIX is right now. The VIX is down. Now, when the VIX goes down, what does that mean? That means that traders are not worried. And obviously when the VIX spikes, traders are worried because the stock market goes down. When the VIX doesn't spike, but look where the VIX is right now. It's at 13, right? Where is this here? Now, this is the lowest it's been, right? This is the lowest it's been. If you see where it is, like right there, Look at that through there. The lowest it's been since when? Back here in 2020 COVID. Now I'm not saying COVID's going to happen. No, right? That was a black swan event. We're not going to get this massive spike. Oh my goodness, John, let's go long options VIX. We're going to get the massive spike. This dumbass used to think that, right? It's like, no, right? But look at this here. So we have this bottom point down here, right? And look where we are right now. What is that saying? That's saying that traders, not only are we getting the fear and greed index, which is put together of multiple different indicators, but now, well, look what we're getting. We're getting a movement down, and we're getting to a point where the greed is now getting very, very, very greedy, right? Because we've been going up for quite some time. Stepping up. So especially in the Nasdaq territory. So this is where we're starting to see, not only on a chart perspective, if you've been watching my YouTube videos for the last few weeks, you know I've been saying, guys, there's a big pullback coming. I don't know when, but there's a big pullback coming. And then doing some extra analysis, fear and greed index, and now the VIX, we can see what's going on through there, right? And so when we start to look at things like even like the Nasdaq 100, right? The Nasdaq 100 index. Like, look at the Nasdaq 100 index. It's just been powering up into these resistance levels here. So when I say pullback, guys, I see maybe the Nasdaq 100 is going to have a little bit more upside to come. Maybe. Or maybe this right here is indeed that level of where it's actually possibly likely to find a lot of through there, possibly likely to find a top before we see a drop in the markets. Now again, guys, I'm not calling for an entire crash. It's just we've had an extraordinary quality move up. So I'm just talking about like a 50% pullback here, right? Which will be what? Which will be about a 5 or 10% pullback out of the markets, which will bring what? Which will bring the VIX up, which will then go in line with the fear and greed index, obviously coming back down. Now this is probably going to happen over a couple month period, okay? Not one day, but a couple months. It's going to bring the fear and greed index down to that extreme fear, and then we're probably going to get a bounce, and away we go again, right? So that's what I'm seeing through there when it comes to the markets there. But from an individual place, right? And we know that the Nasdaq has been the one that's been the one that's actually seen the biggest move to the upsides, right? So if we have a look at that, and we go through some individual stocks, and these are stocks I've talked about in the past, but such as Apple, right? If we have a look at Apple, why have I been saying like things like Apple is likely to see a movement on the downside? Why is that? Because look at this entire move up, right? This thing has just been going up and up and up and up and up and up. We're likely to get what? We're likely to get some form of a pullback, because this thing is just kept going and going and going and going, right? And it eventually gets to a point where you get a very hard and fast snapback. So once again, on say with Apple, you could expect maybe like a 10 to 15, maybe even down as much as 15 or so % pullback, right? 10 to 15% pullback in Apple, right? Things like, if you have a look at things like Meta, right? So you see Meta, look at Meta. Meta is another example of look how overextended this thing is. And so again, I don't know if this is going to be the exact high, because there is a little bit of a gap here. So it may go for one last little push to the upside and hit that gap. And if so, then that's probably going to be the top, and we're probably going to start to roll over from there. Or we may be at the top right now. See, what I used to think myself, like, oh, look here, Facebook's about to close this gap. I'm going to go long because it's going to close this gap, right? It's going to close the gap here. So what ends up happening with that is, that people start to go long. I used to do it myself, like, I'm going to go long here. I'm going to make a quick little trade. I'm going to make a quick little buck here. This is sort of a guarantee. This is going to close the gap. I used to go long here, and then the market would actually retrace. See, we actually have a couple more big gaps down here. Look at that big gap there. and the big gap there. Trust me, they will be filled. Right, they will be filled. I don't know when though, but they will be filled. So whenever you get these gaps, there's going to come a time where this thing's going to come down and going to close that gap. Again, you just don't know when that's going to happen from there. So that's sort of like looking at the obviously like meta through there. If you have a look at say Microsoft as well. So Microsoft, again, sort of the same thing as well too. If we take that trend line off the screen, delete. Right, you can see here, very, 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 very strong move. Again, with Microsoft, I was expecting to see possibly a push to all-time new highs, just like Apple did, and then maybe a reversal or a reversal slash pullback out of the markets. But we definitely haven't gotten that yet. And if we also look at things like NVDA, right, NVIDIA is probably one of the biggest bubble stocks out there. And it's all right, I will shut up there. Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest bubble stocks out there right now, and we're probably likely to see a really, really, really good pullback coming over the next couple of months out of the video there. So we should start to see a really good, strong pullback out of the video because it's one of the biggest bubble stocks out there. Things are just going too crazy with this one. And so therefore, we're probably likely to this thing is just going absolutely just nuts to the upside. So I wanted to share that with you guys to show you what I'm seeing from that perspective there, from the actual stock market to also some of the individual stocks. The individual stocks, we're so overextended, right? Because as you know, markets go up, markets go down, markets go up, markets go down. We go through these cycles, right? Breathe in, breathe out, right? And so, you know, down, up, down, and so on and so forth, right? So we go through these processes here, and we do that, right? But what ends up happening is that if the market goes up and then up and then up and then up and then up and without any pullback, and then up and up and up and up without any pullback, AKA, look at this one here, it's just continued really just up, little sideways movement and then straight up. That's now vertical, and that's bubble, and what tends to happen is we get a hard and fast snap back out of that, and that's when you start to see that thing happening. But a lot of traders are bullish right now, as you can see from the fear and greed index, from the indicators, from the sentiment, so on and so forth. So a lot of traders are bullish right now. They're definitely not bearish, and they're definitely seeing that's what's going on in the markets through there. So that's what I wanted to share with you there, guys. Just a quick little update across actually gold and silver. I know some of you guys are really focusing on that as well. So if I bring up the gold chart right now, guys, is still creating potentially a major significant higher low. All right, so on the gold chart, this is a significant high. It's actually really interesting, isn't it? Look at this thing through here. So we actually had the pullback, actually a little double bottom, and then away we go. We're going to pull back. We've actually got a little double bottom. Are we about to see away we go as well too, right? So if we have a look at this weekly chart, you can see here that we are in a very, very strong upward trend still. So I wouldn't want to be fighting gold right now. Yes, we may get a little downside move out of gold, but then it's probably likely to follow through with an upside. Now, the caveat is, or that the big thing about gold right now is that we are setting up for this thing over here, okay? And if indeed we do start to hold here and break up and break above 2100, guess what's coming? That's right, you got it. A really big, an explosion move. One market go down, one market go up, right? So the higher low, if we do hold here, which we are just going sideways now, out of gold. So if I have a look at gold on a short-term TA basis, and this is what I'll be watching for, because a lot of my trading, and again, that first thing in the description there, guys, click on that. You'll be able to get 30 days access to try out my coaching program, and my systems, my strategies, my coaching, and so on and so forth. In the scanning process, the thing is that my trading, I'll do a lot of my trading for the last half an hour of the US stock market. And that's when I'm actually getting into positions, and then I'm holding them for a few days, sometimes up to a few weeks. But I'm also trading the afternoon session for me here in Australia, and that's when the European market opens up. So I'm always watching things like gold, the German market, the S&P 500 futures, and so on and so forth, right? the purpose of me telling you this is that this is one level. If I'm actually watching gold on an intraday basis, I know that 1900 level right now, 1980 level on gold is indeed definitely a strong resistance level. If indeed we go down to say our hourly charts through here, right, and this is our hourly here. If indeed we get something like this happening, right, something like that happening out of gold, for some reason we get a really big sort of strong move up there, then guess what's likely to come out of this level through here, right? If we got something like that on a short-term level basis on an hourly chart, well, what did I say before about this level through here? I'm expecting this whole level, remember this is an hourly chart now, I'm expecting this whole level to be what? A strong higher low out of a strong higher low from that daily chart and the weekly chart, right? So if that's the case and we get a big strong up bar like that next week, then what's probably likely to happen is we're probably likely to start to see this thing have a really big strong move back up to all-time new highs. Now, how that happens, I don't know, but we're probably likely to do something like this, right? We have a move and then we may have a move up and then a bit of a pullback and then stuff like that, right? So that's the reason why it's on a short-term TA basis. That's what I'm actually focusing on from that level there. You can see on the hourly chart, we've had this entire support resistance through here, resistance through here, resistance through here. So if we do start to get something like that, that's going to be an absolute game changer. We may get like a little bit of a pullback like that on the next bar, but then we're probably likely to do something like that on that chart there. So let's go have a look at silver now and see what's going on with silver on this sort of level through here. So one thing I'm noticing with silver is that we definitely came straight up we made a significant high, a higher high. Then now we've come back down now to create a higher low and we're starting to rally back up again. So we're starting to get a lot of strength coming out of silver where we are right now. If we look at this weekly charts, once again, guys, and take everything off the screen, and this comes back down to just listening to the market and not indicators, low, higher low. This could just be another higher low in the market, guys, before away we go. And it's probably likely to be that. Now, on a short-term level basis, guys, there is a strong area of resistance and support where it is right now. Around that area there, we really need to break that. If I go back to my daily charts now, right, we really need to see how we've actually rallied back up. We really need to break that level. If we do start to break above that level there, then it's probably away we go for that level. So if I go back to my hourly charts now, even down to my 15-minute charts, you can see that that's that really, you actually can see we tried once, tried twice through there. That's the 15-minute chart. Again, I'm going advanced on you here, guys, for a little bit. Right, that's the 15-minute chart there. Yeah, so that's that point through there. So as you can see, so that's that whole area through that $24.50 on silver is definitely a strong area. Once it breaks this here, if it breaks this here with conviction, we're probably likely to make a move up to there. Break it with the conviction simply means something like that, like a really big, strong up move from there. Let's have a look through here. What is that? Let's go back to a chart with the moving average on it, and I want to see what the moving average is. Okay, beautiful. So this is the hourly. This is the hourly chart now with the moving average. And the reason why I brought the moving average up is because check this out. Again, guys, click on that link in the description there. First link in the description. You'll learn all the details to my trading setup. But check this out. If we continue up from here like this, and silver does something like this, maybe for one day, and then it does something like that, then guess what? Very, very, very strong move or very strong pattern if we get something like that. Because if that happens, then we're probably, once we get the breakout, then we're probably likely to make a move from there. So just say we get something like that, right? Say we get the moving average is coming up like that through there. Actually, you know what? Let's actually do this here, right? There, right? So we get the moving average coming up through there to there, right? And then we start to get these sort of things going on through to here, right? So just you get the bars, blah 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 blah, right? Get all the bars coming through here, and then we get a big breakaway bar, right? We get something like that. Here we go, right? Here we go. So if that happens, if this happens on silver, guess what's likely to happen? We're likely to see what? We're likely to see. We're likely to see this level back up here. We're now likely to see silver start to make a really big move, a really good move, should I say, up towards those levels up there, if we do get that. And that there, which doesn't look like much, but that's a nice good, 6% to the upside. So you've got a 6% gain for maybe like a 1.5% risk if that happened and that formed there. Again, guys, if you want to learn all the details to my trading system and all the details and get the trade examples and the workbook and the videos and the scanner and so on and so forth, try it all out for 30 days. That link in the description there, guys, click on that. You can, once you get access to that, you'll get access to all my scanner. You'll get access to 4 different bonus trading courses as well too, valued at over $3,000. You get access to my workbook manual, the coaching program. And you get access to all of that, and I can start to help you out, and you can test it all out for 30 days. So very first link in the description there, guys, click on that. That's about to end because I've been running as a bit of a marketing test, and I'll see you guys real soon.